I never imagined buying my own house would turn into a full-blown war zone. But the day entitled HOA, Karen decided my truck didn't belong in my own garage, all hell broke loose. She screamed threats, accused me of lying in front of the entire neighborhood, and then whipped out her phone to call the sheriff like she was about to claim victory. Little did she know, the universe had a much sweeter ending in store. Let me rewind and explain how this disaster began. My name's Jake, and 3 years ago, I finally bought my dream home in a quiet little subdivision called Willow Creek Estates. You know the type. Perfectly trimmed lawns matching mailboxes, and an HOA that practically struts around like it owns the place. I knew the rules, lawn height limits, holiday decor restrictions, approved paint colors, but I figured as long as I kept everything neat, I'd stay out of trouble. I've been a deputy sheriff in our county for 12 years. Long shifts, night work, the usual chaos. So when I got home, the last thing I wanted was drama. My truck is a black Ford F-150. Totally standard, nothing flashy. It has a law enforcement package because occasionally I take it out when my cruisers are in the shop, tinted windows, a light bar I never use off-duty, and official county plates. Most neighbors wave. Kids love it. Everyone except Karen. She moved in about 6 months after me. Mid-50s, bleach blonde bob, always yoga pants, and a visor even in a downpour, clutching that clipboard like it was a weapon. Within a week, she bullied her way into becoming HOA president. Nobody else wanted the headache. Then, fines started raining down. A guy got hit for having a basketball hoop 2 inches too high. Another family got a warning because their dog barked after 9 p.m. Everyone else just paid quietly. I tried to keep under her radar. Mowed my lawn every Saturday, hid my trash cans, even painted my front door the approved shade of beige once it started peeling. But then came the garage incident. It was a blistering Wednesday in July. I just finished a 12-hour shift, and I pulled my truck into the garage like always. I hit the button to close it and was halfway to the kitchen when a voice pierced the air. "Excuse me. Excuse me." I turned, and there she was, Karen, arms flailing like she was controlling traffic. The garage door hadn't even finished closing. "You cannot park that vehicle in there," she shrieked, pointing at my truck as if it had personally insulted her. I was exhausted, still in uniform, badge gleaming, and just stared. "Ma'am, this is my garage on my property." She scoffed so loudly the neighbor's dog started barking. "Don't ma'am me. I know the rules better than you." Section 14B of the Willow Creek Estates Covenants clearly states no commercial vehicles are permitted in driveways or garages if visible from the street. I blinked. Visible from the street? The door was literally closing. 12 seconds. She snapped. I timed it. And that truck is obviously commercial. Look at the plates. Look at the light bar. This is a residential neighborhood, not a police station. I almost laughed. Almost. Because now Mrs. Jenkins across the street was peeking out, and Mr. Rodriguez next door had come out to water his soaked flowers just to watch the chaos. "Karen," I said slowly, "it's not a commercial vehicle. It's my personal—" "Don't lie to me." She cut me off. "I've seen you driving it around, pretending to be important. That's not allowed here. Remove it by tomorrow or $500 per day in fines." My jaw tightened. I've dealt with real criminals who showed more respect. "You can try," I muttered. Her eyes narrowed. "Oh, I will. And if you don't comply, I'll have it towed at your expense." Spinning on her heel, she marched back to her house, phone already in hand. I thought that was it. Just another HOA lunatic story to laugh about later. 2 days later, things escalated. I returned from work to find an orange sticker on my garage. Violation notice, commercial vehicle, $500 fine assessed. Second warning, remove immediately or face further action, including towing and law enforcement involvement. I chuckled at that last part. Next morning, I parked my truck in the garage again and left for work. That evening, 3 more stickers were plastered across the garage. A crowd of neighbors had gathered, and there was Karen in the middle, holding court. "This man thinks he's above the rules," she declared. "He's been warned repeatedly. I've tried to be reasonable, sure, but enough was enough. We're calling the sheriff right now. Karen declared. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from my sergeant. Hey, dispatch just got a call about a suspicious commercial vehicle at your address. Want me to send someone? I texted back. No need. I'm home. I stepped out of the garage just as Karen was on speakerphone with dispatch, dramatically describing my truck as a threat to property values and demanding its immediate removal. The neighbors went silent when they saw me in full uniform. Karen didn't notice at first. She was too busy performing. Yes, officer. The address is 1427 Maple Lane. The vehicle is black, has official looking plates, and the owner is refusing to cooperate. Then she turned and froze. Standing there, arms crossed, badge gleaming in the late sun, was a reality she completely overlooked. Sheriff. The word didn't need to leave my lips. The badge said it all. The street went utterly silent. Crickets chirped. Karen stood frozen. Phone pressed her ear, mouth agape like a startled fish. Neighbors who had nodded along to her complaints suddenly became fascinated by their own shoes. Mrs. Jenkins slammed her curtains down with a loud thwack. Dispatch's voice crackled through the speaker. Ma'am? Ma'am, are you still there? Slowly, Karen lowered the phone, face turning bright red. She stared at my badge, then my face, then back at the badge, as if silently hoping it was some kind of costume. I took a step forward, calm but firm, the same tone I use on actual suspects. Karen, I said evenly, you just called the sheriff's office to report commercial vehicle violation at my address. Dispatch sent a call to me because, well, this is my house. A few neighbors gasped. Mr. Rodriguez let out a low whistle and muttered something that sounded like Dios mío. Karen's eyes darted around, searching for an escape that didn't exist. This has to be a mistake. You can't be Deputy Sheriff Jake Harland. 12 years on the force, and yes, that is my personal vehicle, registered in my name, insured under my name, parked in my garage on my property. She clutched her phone like a lifeline, but the rules, the covenants, they clearly state, I cut her off. The covenants prohibit commercial vehicles used for business purposes that detract from the residential character of the neighborhood. My truck isn't a delivery van, plumbing truck, or food truck. It's my personal vehicle, modified for law enforcement because of my job, protecting people, including you. Her bottom lip trembled, but I could see her plotting. Not backing down, never Karen. Well, she said finally, forcing a strained smile, the light bar alone is intimidating to children, and those government plates. Clearly not standard residential. At that moment, my sergeant, listening over dispatch, chuckled. Karen had forgotten to hang up. Ma'am, he said, that's a county-owned vehicle assigned to one of our deputies. That's a marked law enforcement vehicle. Pretty sure that's protected status. Karen's face shifted from red to purple. She slammed the end call button like she might break the screen. Neighbors dispersed, remembering suddenly they had dinners to cook or dogs to walk. But Karen wasn't finished. The next morning, I woke to find my entire driveway lined with bright orange construction cones and a handwritten sign staked into my lawn. No parking. HOA enforcement zone. Violators will be towed. Ring camera footage confirmed she had snuck around at 5 a.m., headlamp on, placing each cone with military precision. I moved them onto her lawn and went to work. That evening, every trash can had violation stickers. My recycling bin had 3. And a new certified mail-style letter was taped to my door. $750 fine for improper storage of waste. $500 for unauthorized removal of HOA property. The cones. Karen was escalating faster than a domestic call on New Year's Eve. 2 days later, she upped the ante. Measuring tape in hand, she hovered over my truck, muttering about setback requirements. Karen, what are you doing? I asked. She jumped, then recovered. Documenting violations for the board meeting tonight. Your truck is clearly protruding 2.7 inches past the garage threshold, visible from the street, therefore in violation. The truck was fully inside. The door closed. She was measuring from memory. This wasn't about the truck anymore. It was personal. Then came the board meeting. Scheduled on a Friday night, emails sent to every homeowner. Urgent. Ongoing violations by resident at 1427. Maple Lane destroying property values. 43 people showed up at the clubhouse. Karen had a PowerPoint titled The Commercial Vehicle Crisis with zoomed-in photos of my truck to exaggerate the light bar, arrows pointing to plates, and stock images of rundown neighborhoods. She clicked through, voice rising dramatically. If we allow this precedent, what's next? Food trucks? Construction vehicles? Our beautiful neighborhood will become a parking lot for government trucks. People squirmed. A few nodded politely. Most looked embarrassed. Then came her bombshell. I've consulted an attorney, she announced proudly. We've determined not only is this vehicle in clear violation, but the homeowner has been dishonest about his profession. I move we impose maximum fines and proceed with towing. That was it. That was when I stood up from the back row, still in uniform straight from work, and walked to the front. Silence fell immediately. Karen, I said loud enough for everyone to hear, you've accused a law enforcement officer of dishonesty in a public forum. You placed unauthorized signage on private property. You've harassed a resident over a vehicle that fully complies with both HOA rules and state law, and you've wasted countless hours of multiple people's time, including mine, and I'm on the clock right now. Her hands shook as she gripped the clicker. But I'm not here to threaten you, I continued. I'm here to show you something. I pulled out my phone and played the ring footage from every time she trespassed on my property at night to place cones, take photos, or leave notes. The entire room watched in horror as her antics unfolded on the big screen. When it ended, nobody clapped. Nobody spoke. They just stared at Karen. Her voice came out a whisper. This is entrapment. No, I said firmly. This is you breaking multiple laws while trying to enforce rules that don't even apply. Trespassing, harassment, filing false reports with law enforcement. She looked around for support and found none. Even her usual allies avoided eye contact. Then she made her fatal mistake. You think you're so special because of that badge? She screamed, pointing at me. I know people too. I know the sheriff personally. He'll hear about this. The room collectively held its breath. I smiled for the first time all week. Karen, I said slowly, I am the sheriff's son-in-law, and tomorrow morning he's coming over for breakfast. Want me to mention how you've been treating his favorite deputy? Her scream echoed like a fire alarm. Every head snapped to her, then to me, waiting for the explosion, but I stood silent. Her face crumpled. She knew she'd gone too far threatening the sheriff when his family was involved. Checkmate. She dropped the clicker, which clattered on the floor like a gunshot, and without another word, pushed past the folding chairs and bolted out the side door. A few people half stood as if to follow, but no one did. The room remained frozen until the door slammed behind her. I turned to the board members. 3 retired men and 1 exhausted mom who'd only joined because no one else would. Meeting adjourned? I asked. They nodded so quickly I thought their necks might snap. The next morning, Saturday, my father-in-law arrived at 8 a.m. sharp with a box of donuts, and that knowing grin he gets when he smells drama. Sheriff Harlan. Big guy, broom-like mustache, a voice that can calm a riot without raising it. Sat at my kitchen table, ate 2 Boston creams, and listened to the entire story. When I finished, he wiped sugar off his mustache and said, Son, you handled that better than I would have. I'd have had her in cuffs for filing false reports the first time she called dispatch. I laughed, didn't want to escalate until forced. He nodded, thoughtful. Here's the thing. Karen isn't just a busybody. I've known her longer than you've been on the force. Really? I asked, eyebrows raised. Yep. Her husband was Deputy Mike Brennan. Good man. Died in the line 8 years ago. High-speed chase gone wrong. Left her with 2 kids and a pension barely covering that McMansion she's so proud of. I sat back, stunned. Pieces clicked into place. The sheriff continued. After Mike died, she moved here for a fresh start. Threw herself into the HOA because it gave her control, something she lost the night of that chase. She sees rules as the only thing keeping chaos away. Your truck, black Ford, light bar, county plates, looks exactly like the one Mike drove nightly. She probably saw you pull in and for a split second thought, I got it. Every time my garage door opened, It ripped open an 8-year-old wound. Anger drained out of me like air from a tire. That afternoon, I walked across the street to Karen's house. She answered in sweats, no makeup, eyes red and puffy. Tried to close the door, but I gently put my hand on the frame. "Karen, can we talk?" 5 minutes. She hesitated, then stepped aside. We sat in her living room. Framed photos of a younger her with a tall deputy in uniform, 2 little kids on his shoulders. My throat tightened. "I owe you an apology." I began. Her head snapped up. "You what?" "I didn't know about Mike. The sheriff told me this morning. I didn't realize my truck looked like his." Her lip trembled. She stared at her hands. I thought I was protecting the neighborhood, but really, I was angry at reminders, at everything I can't fix. I get it. I lost my partner 3 years ago. Ambush call. Grief makes us do crazy things. We sat in silence. Then I said, "The fines? Not paying them. But I'll drop any complaints if you resign as president and take a break from the board. And the light bar? I'm removing it next week. Switching to an unmarked sedan for personal use. Time for me, too." Her eyes filled. "You do that," she whispered. "It's just a truck. You lost a husband. Least I can do is lose a light bar." She cried quietly, shoulders shaking. I didn't hug her. Not yet. When I stood to leave, she said, "Jake, thank you, and I'm sorry for everything." 2 weeks later, the board elected mild-mannered Mr. Rodriguez as president. Fines stopped flying. People waved again instead of hiding behind curtains. Karen sold her house 6 months later and moved closer to her kids. Before she left, she dropped off a tin of homemade cookies with a note. "Mike would have liked you. He hated entitled people too." I still smile every time I pull into my garage. No light bar, no drama, just the quiet hum of a neighborhood that finally feels like home. That, folks, is why an HOA Karen went nuclear over a truck in a garage. Sometimes the craziest villains are just people carrying pain they never learned to set down. If you've ever faced an HOA nightmare, share your story in the comments. Hit like if this twist surprised you. Subscribe for more real-life stories that end in justice, healing, or unexpected peace. And don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss a new upload.